follow me on my Facebook page and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you! In this video, we will have one of the lesson of grade 9 mathematics and that is about the variation. So, sa variation, meron tayong iba-ibang uri ng variation and those are the direct square, inverse, joint, and combination. There are varied things around you that you should know how things are related to each other, like how is time related to the speed of a vehicle, or even as simple as the relationship of the length of your arm span with your height. So first is the direct variation. There is direct variation whenever a situation produces pairs of numbers in which their ratio is constant. The statements y varies directly as x, y is directly proportional to x, and y is proportional to x may be translated mathematically as y equals kx, where k is the constant of variation. For two quantities x and y, an increase in x causes an increase in y as well. Similarly, a decrease in x causes a decrease in y. You encounter such situations in your everyday life. For instance, if you walk slowly going to school, it takes longer time but walking fast takes a shorter time reaching the school. Another situation is when your mother asks you to buy rice, which costs 55 pesos a kilo. So, if 1 kilo costs 55 pesos, how much 10 kilos of rice cost? In this situation, the more kilos of rice, the more money you will pay. Hence, this is an example of direct variation. So, ang formula ng ating direct variation ay y equals kx, or when we are finding the constant of variation or yung k, we will use the formula y over x equals k or k equals y over x. So let's have the first example. If y varies directly as x and y equals 24 when x is equal to 6, find the constant variation and the equation of variation. So let's have the solution. Again, i-recall natin na ang formula for direct variation is y equals kx. Bakit naging y equals kx? So sabi dito sa ating example, if y varies directly as x. So, since nauna ang variable y, so iyon yung ilalagay natin sa left side ng equal sign, and then ang katabi naman ng constant of variation ay variable x. And then, when we are finding the variable the variable k or yung constant, we have to divide both sides of the equation by x para makancel natin yung x dito, at ang matitira na lang ay k, so the formula for k is y over x. So let us now find the value of k. K is equal to 24 over 6 because we substitute the value of y, which is 24, and the value of x is 6. And then 24 divided by 6 is 4. So k is equal to 4. And the equation of variation is y equals 4x. Paano naging ganito yung ating equation? Sinubstitute lang natin yung nakuha nating constant of variation which is 4 doon sa ating formula na kx kaya naging y equals 4x. Another example, the table below shows that the distance d varies directly as the time, or t. Find the constant of variation in the equation which describes the relation. So as you can see, kapag tumatagal ang oras, so sa loob ng 1 hour, umaabot ang ang distance ng 10 kilometers. In 2 hours, 20 kilometers hanggang sa 5 hours, which is equivalent to 50 kilometers. So, habang tumatagal o ang oras, lumalayo ang distansya o ang kilometro ng isang sasakyan o kung anumang bagay. So, ibig sabihin, kapag tumataas ang number sa time, tumataas din ang number sa distance. So, that is an example of direct variation. So, let's have now the solution. D is equal to KT since ang sabi dyan is D varies directly as T. So, D is equal to KT. First is to find the constant or yung value ng K. So, let us substitute. Gamitin natin yung isa sa mga pares ng time and distance, and that is 2 and 20. So, ang distance is 20 kilometer at ang time is 2 hours. So, naging 20 equals 2K. Bakit nauna yung 2 kaysa sa K? Pero dito sa ating formula nauna ang K, ito ay dahil kapag magkatabi ang letter at number, palagi pong mauuna yung number. And then next, for us to find the value of K, we have to divide both sides by 2 para makancel yung 2 sa kaliwa ng K. Therefore, the value of K is 10. It's either 10 equals K or K is equal to 10. And then the equation of relation is D equals 10T. Again, yung nakuha nating value ng K ay sinubstitute lamang natin sa ating equation. Next is the direct square variation. The relation between the area and the square of the ratio is an example of a direct square variation. So, ano ba yung pagkakaiba ng direct variation sa direct square variation? So, naglagay lang tayo ng square sa bilang exponent sa isang variable. So, for example, area is equal to pi r squared. So, kung mapapansin nyo, meron ng exponent na 2. So, ito ay halimbawa ng direct square variation. And then, the constant of variation is pi. Since ang pi ay merong palaging value na 3.1416 or 3.1415 and so on. Direct square variation states that if y varies directly to the square of x, there is a non-zero constant k such that y over x squared equals k or y equals kx squared. The graph of direct square variation is quadratic. In nature, it follows a quadratic curve. So let's have the example for direct square variation. Y varies directly as the square of x. If y is equal to 27 when x is equal to 3, find x when y equals 81. So for the solution, let us use the formulas y equals kx squared and y over x squared equals k. So dito hahanapin muna natin ang value ng constant of variation or value ng k. So let us substitute 27 to the variable y and 3 to the variable x. So this will become k equals 27 over 3 squared. Yung squared or yung exponent na 2, kinopya lang natin sa upper right-hand corner ng number 3. So, ibig sabihin ng 3 squared, that is 3 times 3. So, that will be 27 over 9. And then, i-divide natin. 27 divided by 9 is 3, and that is the value of the constant of variation or k. Next is the equation. So, the equation of variation is y equals 3x squared. Since ang nakuha nating value ng k ay 3, so pinalit lang natin yon sa variable k, kaya naging 3x squared. Next is to find the value of x when y is equal to 81. So, dito, since meron na tayong constant na 3, papalitan natin o isa-substitute natin ang 81 sa y para mahanap natin yung value ng variable x. So, that will be 81 equals 3x squared. And then, divide both sides by 3 para makancel natin yung 3 sa tabi ng x squared. So, 81 divided by 3 is 27 equals x squared. Pero, kailangan nating hanapin ang square root ng 27 at x squared dahil may exponent na 2 yung x. So, let us now find the square root of 27. Since hindi siya perfect square, hanapin natin o alamin natin ano yung dalawang number na kapag minultiply ay 27, pero dapat yung isang number ay perfect square. So, iyon ay 9 and 3 because 9 times 3 ay 27. And then, the square root of 9 is 3. So, ilalabas natin yung 3 dito sa radical sign. So, the answer for x is 3 square root of 3. Another example, if p varies directly as the square of q and p is equal to 256 when q is equal to 8, find k equation and p when q is equal to 2 square root of 3. So again, hanapin muna natin yung value ng k by using the formula. P equals kq squared and p over q squared is equal to k. Okay, kapag ganito yung ating given, p varies directly as the square of q. So since ang naunang variable ay p, so iyon yung nasa left side. equals k, and then square down ng q, so that is q squared. Okay, let us now find the value of k using the formula. So the value of p is 256 over 8 squared. Next is to multiply 8 times 8 dahil 8 squared ang nakalagay dyan. So, magiging 256 over 64. And then, i-divide ang 256 sa 64. So, the value of k is 4. Next, yung 4 na nakuha natin sa k, i-substitute lang natin dito sa ating equation. So, the equation of variation is p equals 4q squared. Next, gamit naman ang equation of variation, i-substitute natin ang value ng q na 2 square root of 3, dito yon, para mahanap natin yung value ng p, dahil yun yung isa sa mga tanong. So, let us now substitute. P equals 4 times 2 square root of 3 quantity squared. So, kailangan maglagay tayo ng parenthesis sa value ng q para mapunta sa labas ng parenthesis ang exponent na 2. Okay, isolve muna natin ang 2 square root of 3 squared, so that is 12. And then multiply 4 by 12, so the value of p is 48. Next is the inverse variation. Inverse variation occurs whenever a situation produces pairs of numbers whose product is constant. For two quantities x and y, an increase in x causes a decrease in y or vice versa. We can say that y varies inversely as x or y equals k over x. Kung sa direct variation, habang tumataas ang value ng x, tumataas din ang value ng y. Dito naman sa inverse variation, kapag tumataas ang value o quantity ng x, bumababa naman ang value ng y. The statement y varies inversely as x translates to y equals k over x, where k is the constant of variation. In real life, there are different situations that shows inverse relation. First, your speed in walking varies inversely with the time. The faster you walk, the shorter the time it takes you to reach your destination. So kapag mabilis kang maglakad, maigsi lang yung oras na makakarating ka sa pupuntahan mo. Kapag naman mabagal kang maglakad, mahaba yung oras na magagamit mo para makarating ka sa isang lugar. Another, in renting a private resort, the cost per person varies inversely as the number of persons sharing the rent. So, kapag magre-rent kayo ng private resort at kaunti lang kayo, mas malaking pera ang kailangang iambag ng isa't isa. Kapag naman marami kayong magkakasama para mag-rent ng private resort, maliit lang yung halaga na kailangan nyong paghati-hatian. So the formula for the inverse variation is y equals k over x, or k is equal to xy, or xy equals x. K, sorry. So let's now have the example for the inverse variation. Number 1, y varies inversely as x if y is equal to 10 and x is equal to 2. Find y when x is equal to 10. So dito, hahanapin muna natin ang value ng constant of variation or or k. Tapos, tsaka natin hahanapin yung value ng y given the value of x, which is 10. So, for the solution, isulat natin o i-recall natin yung formula ng inverse variation. And then, let us use the formula for k. So, that is k equals xy. And then, let us substitute. The value of x is 2 and the value of y is 10. So, that is 2 times 10. The value of k is 20. And the equation of relation is y equals 20 over x. Next, using the formula y is equal to k over x, let us now substitute. Y is equal to 20 over 10. Ang nakuha nating 20 ay doon sa k natin kanina. And then yung 10, iyon yung nasa condition para mahanap natin yung value ng y. So since naka-fraction, we will just divide. So the value of y is 2. Second example, the table below shows that the number of persons working together or represented as the variable x and the number of hours represented by the variable y, the job is completed. Find the constant of variation and equation. So dito, meron tayong mga values of x and values of y. As you can see, the values of x are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then sa y naman, 2, 1, 2 thirds, 1 half, and 2 fifth. So habang tumataas ang value ng x, bumababa naman ang value ng y. So that is an example again of inverse variation. So for the solution, let us now find the constant. So that is k equals xy. Again, we will just multiply the value of x and the value of y. So dito sa table, kahit anong pares ang pwede nyong gamitin ay tulad lang ng kalalabasan ng value ng k. So dito, gamitin natin yung value of x, which is 5, and for the y, that is 2 fifth. So 5 times 2 fifth. So, paano ba tayo nagmumultiply ng fraction sa whole number? So, you will just multiply the whole number to the numerator and then copy the denominator. So, that will become 10 over 5 because 5 times 2 is 10. And then, you will just divide, so the value of k or the constant of variation is 2. And then, the equation will be y equals 2 over x. So, paano ba naging ganito yung ating equation of variation? Yung nakuha natin k, sinubstitute lang natin sa ating formula na y equals k over x. So let us now proceed on the fourth variation, and that is the joint variation. If the ratio of one quantity to the product of the other two quantities is constant, then they may vary or they vary jointly. That is, if y varies jointly as x and z, then y equals kxz or k equals y over xz. So sa joint variation, pinagsama na ang tatlong variables. So those are the variables x, y, and z. So kapag ang naunang nabanggit na variable is y, so again, iyon ang nasa left side. And then, lalagyan ng k for the constant of variation. And then, imumultiply din ang x and z. Kapag naman hinahanap ang value ng k, so i-cross multiply lang natin yon. So mapupunta sa left side o sa baba ang xz at sa taas naman ang y. Kasi kapag kinross multiply natin ang y sa kxz, mapupunta sa baba ng y ang xz. So let us now have the first example for the joint variation. Z varies jointly as x and y. If z is equal to 16, when x is equal to 4 and y is equal to 6, find the constant of variation and the equation of the variation. So for the solution, let us recall the two formulas. And then again, hanapin natin yung value of k or the constant of variation. So we will use k equals z over x, y. And then you will just substitute the values of x, y, and z. So ang value ng z is 16, ang value naman ng x ay 4, at ang value ng y is 6. So that will become k equals 16 over 4 times 6. Again, kapag magkatabi ang dalawang variable, that means multiplication or kailangan yung i-multiply yung dalawang number na nakaparenthesis. So, that will become 16 over 24 because 4 times 6 is 24. And then, since hindi kayang i-divide o walang kalalabasan na whole number ang 16 divided by 24, you will just have to find the lowest term. So, ano yung isang number na kayang i-multiply sa 16 at 24? And then the final answer is 2 thirds. Paano naging 2 thirds? We divided 16 by 8. So 16 divided by 8 is 2. And 24 divided by 8 is 3. So that is 2 thirds. Next is to use the equation of variation. So ang nakuha nating constant of variation na 2 thirds ay isa-substitute lang natin sa ating formula for z. So that will become z equals 2 thirds x, y. Second example, if M varies jointly as P and Q and M equals 50 when P equals 5 and Q equals 2, find M when P equals 10 and Q equals 6. So dito, hahanapin muna natin ang K and then yung equation and then tsaka natin hahanapin ang value ng M using the values of P and Q. So let us now have the solution. Using the two formulas, again, gamitin muna natin ang K. And then substitute the values of M, P, and Q. The value of M is 50, the value of P is 5, and Q is 2. And then, since magkatabi sila, yung P at Q, or yung 5 at 2, you will just multiply, so that will become 50 over 10. Again, kapag fraction, you will just divide. So the value of K is 5, because 50 divided by 10 is 5. And then, yung nakuha nating K, which is 5, isa-substitute lang natin dito sa M equals KPQ, kaya magiging M equals 5PQ ang ating equation of variation. Next is to find the value of M. So, dito, hahanapin daw natin ang value ng M if the value of P is 10 and the value of Q is 6. So, let us proceed. So, this will become M equals 5 times 10 times 6. So, i-multiply lang natin. So, the value of M is 300. Last kind of variation is the combined variation. Combined variation is another physical relationship among variables. This is the kind of variation that involves both the direct and inverse variations. So kapag sinabing combined variation, magkasama na ang direct variation at inverse variation. The statement z varies directly as x and inversely as y means z equals kx over y or k equals zy over x, where k is the constant of variation. First example, if z varies directly as x and inversely as y, and z equals 9 when x equals 6 and y equals 2, find z when x equals 8 and y equals 12. So dito, again, hahanapin muna natin ang k, and then equation, and then the value of z. So for the solution, rewrite the formulas for the combined variation. Let us find the value of k using the formula k equals zy over x. The value of z in our given is 9, the value of y is 2, and the value of x is 6. So that will become k equals 9 times 2 over 6. You will just multiply 9 times 2, so that is 18, divided by 6, so the value of k is 3. And then yung 3, isa-substitute naman natin sa ating formula, kaya magiging z equals 3x over y ang ating equation of variation. And then, we will find the value of z dito sa ating equation of variation using the values of x and y. Kaya magiging z equals 3 times 8 over 12. Because ang condition dyan, we will find the value of z if x is equal to 8, and the value of y must be 12. So let us multiply 3 times 8, that is 24 divide by 12. So the value of z is 2. Another example, if A varies directly as B and inversely as C, and A equals 2 when B equals 18 and C equals 2, find A when B equals 27 and C equals 3. So for the solution, let us use the two formulas. First is to find the value of constant of variation. So meron tayong mga values ng A, B, and C. So let us substitute. That will become 2 times 2 over 18. And then 2 times 2 is 4 over 18. Since wala silang eksakto o whole number na sagot, you will find the lowest term. So divide both sides by 2. So 4 divided by 2 is 2 and 18 divided by 2 is 9. So the value of k is 2 over 9. And then yung 2 over 9, isa-substitute naman natin sa ating equation of variation. So that is a equals 2 over 9 b over c. Next is to find the value of A using the values of B and C. So that will become A equals 2 over 9 times 27 over 3. Because the value of B here is 27, the value of C is 3, and yung nakuha naman nating value ng K kanina ay 2 over 9. Again, paano ba tayo magmumultiply ng fraction sa decimal? Simple lang. Multiply the fraction to whole number, sorry. So, multiply, you just have to multiply the whole number 27 sa 2, kaya magiging 54 over 9 over 3. So, dito, you will just have first to divide 54 sa 9. So 54 divided by 9 is 7. Therefore, the value of A is 7 over 3. So let us now summarize the lesson about the variation. First is the direct variation. For us to get or to use the direct variation, we have the formulas y equals kx and k equals y over x. Para naman sa direct square variation, we have the formulas y equals kx squared and k equals y over x squared. Kung mapapansin nyo, halos tulad lang yung direct at direct square. Ang pinagkaiba lang, may exponent na 2 ang variable x. Next is the inverse variation. So that is y equals k over x and k equals xy. For joint variation, y equals kxz and k equals y over xz. And last is the combined variation. So that is z equals kx over y and k equals zy over x. Sana ay may natutunan kayo dito sa aking video. Thank you for watching. If you have questions or suggestions, feel free to comment below. Enjoy learning mathematics. God bless us all!